Hey folks, we're going to start covering some of the protocols that we're using in response to, well, normally the flu season, but now this global pandemic. So I'm not a doctor, first off, and I'm not telling you or prescribing anything. I'm just saying, hey, this is what we're doing. Do some research and tell me what you think. Ask some questions about how it's working for us. I'd love to share information, but in the end, it's your personal choice as to how you empower yourself toward self-care and the care of your loved ones in your community. Having said that, we're going to start getting into plants that are a little bit more controversial for established antibacterial antivirals. And they're controversial because not that the studies support this, they do, but that they are invasive. And often you'll find these plants in your neighborhood, but beware, as invasives, they are subjected to being poisoned to control them. And if you're harvesting poisoned roots, you're doing more harm than good, aren't you? So the first one up to bat is Japanese knotweed. And I will tell you, Japanese knotweed is an aggressive non-native species. Up here in Maine, they loosely refer to it as bamboo because it has a vague appearance to bamboo structure, but it's not in that family. There are videos on YouTube of this plant growing through concrete foundations. The tenacity and the adaptability of this plant is phenomenal. We've been harvesting from the same patch well over 10 years. And it's not only running deeper before it sends its lateral runners out, it's going under the road and popping up across the street. So it hasn't taken the field that we've been harvesting from, because we have protocols, and I want to share them before we do this little segment on recognizing and preparing it. And the protocols are to take buckets with water out to the site with scrub brushes, as well as the tools you're going to need to dig up these roots, and process everything on site except for those things that you're going to bring back and use later on. When you're done using them, oh, and by the way, stay away from the kitchen sink or any plumbing as you chop up or pour water on these plants and put it on the stove. You're keeping them on the table and you're sweeping thoroughly, and everything goes into the wood stove or into whatever official trash system you have in more densely populated areas, because this stuff, I'm telling you, the smallest of the roots, we've had it growing in a bucket of wood ash, the bucket that you use to empty your wood stove. It was sprouting that spring, just to let you know how tenacious this is. So protocols need to be in place where you destroy any of your mark or material that you're using, whether it's in the fire or through your traditional trash, but do not rinse anything in the sink. You might have it popping right out of your septic tank. This plant and the next one we're going to cover are known for their antiviral and antibacterial properties. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Japanese knotweed.
All right, I see a root right there I'm going to grab.
So I'm saying it's just the it's all soft under there.
Grab as soon as I'm done videoing this. Tell what they're looking for. So after excavating about 10 to 12 inches down, you get these larger roots. But it's about thumb thick, really. It's just deeper in that hole than I can reach in right now. And we're coming off of these, I call these the battle stars, because the roots underneath these are bulbous and gnarly and hard to process. But these runners, even these old thick ones, you can see the orange poking through the dirt. Right, that orange is the medicine, the resveratrol and the other phytochemicals that help to our bodies deal with these very resistant spirochetes in the case of Lyme disease.
This is today's haul of Japanese knotweed. We're going to be processing some of this as a strong decoction immediately, where it'll stay on a burner on the stove in a big pot ready to use when needed, 3 to 5 times a day. And what we'll also be doing with the rest of that root is either making tinctures in a solution that's at least 100 proof or greater, preferably, to extract the medicine, which is primarily resveratrol, but also a whole suite of other phytochemicals that work in conjunction to help our overall health. And then the remainder will be dried and stored in paper bags so that we can powder it when needed and help us get through until the rest of the ground freezes.